I know a new Call of Duty game just came out, so it's a little silly to be looking at the future, but with a giant franchise like COD, it's kind of hard not to. Modern Warfare 2 has been a pretty solid financial success for Activision, breaking records, but something interesting about the latest release is the fact that it's allegedly breaking the yearly release cycle. Ever since the mid-2000s, a new Call of Duty game is launched every year, maximizing profits for Activision, but also taking a toll on the franchise's longevity. When a new game comes out every single year, it's kind of hard to get invested in the latest entry for too long, and when the studios are rushed to get a new game out every 12 months, there's only so much work they can put into it. The last few COD games have seriously suffered from the lack of forward planning, but now that the yearly release schedule is gone at the moment, that problem will allegedly be solved. Welcome to Video Game Leaks, everybody. Chaos here. The voice is trying to go away, but I'm going to power through. You stick with me for this video because we're going to be talking about Advanced Warfare 2. Now, people are obviously always looking to the future when it comes to video games, and there's been a lot of rumors regarding Treyarch's next Call of Duty project, reportedly coming in 2024 and continuing the Black Ops franchise again. But what about Sledge? Infinity Ward and Treyarch aren't the only COD developers in the mix. In a month or two ago, a pretty massive report came out about the Underdog Studio and what they're up to. So, a while back, it was reported that a sequel to Advanced Warfare was in development, allegedly dropping in 2025 or 2026, depending on how strict Activision's going to be with this two-year release schedule. Initial reports came from a couple COD insiders on Twitter who have been spot on about things in the past, but the lack of details and cross-references made this one a little hard to believe. Now, granted, I have no doubt in my mind that Sledgehammer Games would love to do another Advanced Warfare game, as it's been rumored for a long time. AW dropped in 2014, and while it was an extremely different Call of Duty game and certainly a breath of fresh air for a lot of members, it also introduced some stuff not so favorable. Supply drops, jetpacks, weapon variants. They were all brought into the COD formula with Advanced Warfare. The game didn't sell nearly as well as its predecessors. The jetpack era of COD is not remembered very fondly, aside from Black Ops 3. And after 2016, we never got another COD game with advanced movements. Now, that doesn't mean Sledgehammer didn't try. In 2017 and 18, a ton of leaks came out regarding the state of Sledge's creative team and what they're working on. So according to multiple inside sources, and even a handful of seemingly legitimate leaks, Call of Duty 2017 was originally going to be a sequel to Advanced Warfare, and the production was well underway in 2015 and 16. However, following the disastrous response to Infinite Warfare's reveal trailer, Activision stepped in. They pumped the brakes and they demanded the project be changed into something more in line with what the community wanted. The launch version of Call of Duty World War II, it was a complete mess. Many people believe this is the reason why. I mean, Sledgehammer basically had to restart development and reuse many assets as they could in order to build a World War II game in about a year and a half, allegedly, which would explain why the game barely worked at launch and there was severe lack of content. The campaign? Super short, very formulaic, almost as if the writing team was on an incredibly tight schedule and just had to have something finished to ship out the door. Shortly after COD World War II's launch, data miners also discovered unused game files referring to things like perks and non-World War II era weapons, and they were never finished. And Sledgehammer allegedly erased those files with patches in order to destroy the evidence, which is kind of suspicious. All this to say, Sledge clearly wanted to continue what they started with Advanced Warfare, but it didn't work out. So, their history with Call of Duty has been rocky. They were pulled into Modern Warfare 3's development in the 11th hour to put together that game's multiplayer after a massive legal battle caused by more than half of the Infinity Ward team to leave the company. Their first official outing was obviously Advanced Warfare. The game clearly had a lot of passion, but the community was divided. Then for their next game, they were forced to make something they clearly weren't that passionate about, resulting in another year of lackluster community feedback. So even if you really enjoyed COD World War II, and what eventually it became, you can't deny the game is seriously lacking personality compared to other COD titles, and a lot of that can be explained by the fact that Activision didn't want another futuristic game. So that brings us to 2021, Call of Duty Vanguard. For those that didn't know, Vanguard was once again the result of an incredibly rushed development cycle, and Sledgehammer once again being forced to make a game that they probably weren't interested in. Originally, they were supposed to drop a game in 2020, and Raven Software was their support studio, and according to inside sources, COD 2020 was going to be this brand new sub-series set in the Cold War or Vietnam War, depending on the source, but there were severe problems between Sledge and Raven, allegedly. The two studios simply couldn't work together, and in late 2019, Activision stepped in to make sure the project got done on time. According to insiders, Sledge's project was in such shambles that Activision had no confidence that it would be done in time, so they pulled in Treyarch to take over. Yeah. COD 2020 was then reworked into Black Ops Cold War with Treyarch at the helm, while Sledgehammer then had an additional year to make something new. So that deadline, the only option, use leftover COD World War II assets. Call of Duty Vanguard. This is why Vanguard was so buggy on launch day, allegedly, and obviously borrowed just a ton of stuff from COD World War II and Modern Warfare 2019. So why am I telling you this? You clicked on the video wanting to learn about Advanced Warfare, so why am I giving you a history lesson? Well, I really want to hammer home the fact that Sledgehammer has continuously gotten the short end of the Call of Duty stick, and I honestly feel bad for them. They're an incredibly talented studio. When you consider the crazy hoops they've had to jump through in order to hit deadlines, it's a miracle the last couple games turned out as playable as they did. Again, COD World War II was reportedly put together in about a year and a half. COD Vanguard likely finished even faster. And both of those projects reportedly had to be sped through the design phase due to orders from upstairs. Now, Sledgehammer's experience with Call of Duty has been very different from Infinity Ward and Treyarch, who are often given much more time to craft a vision before they even start writing any lines of code. The fact that Activision has reportedly ditched the yearly release schedules, I don't know. You let me know what you think about that. So, a couple months ago, it was leaked that Sledgehammer is working on a sequel to AW set to launch a year or two after Treyarch's 2024 game. However, just this morning, we got a new report from a very reliable source that seems to shut down all those rumors. According to Tom Henderson in a piece for the Insider Gaming, Advanced Warfare 2 is not in development, and it never was. This puts Sledgehammer's future with the franchise into question, especially after the disappointing sales and reception of COD Vanguard. Right now, the Call of Duty release schedule is Modern Warfare 2, obviously here, Treyarch's next project in 2024, we've got Warzone 2, but after that, we have no idea. There's a chance Activision goes back to the yearly release schedule after Treyarch's next game, but there's also a solid chance they stick to the 2-year cycle moving forward to give their studios more time to polish the games and give the games more time to sell. So, it's not even confirmed that Sledgehammer is making another mainline COD game. And I wouldn't be shocked at all if they actually got demoted to a support studio, which would be a huge shame because a lot of the issues were not their fault. COD World War II and Vanguard were completely out of their hands, and it's been almost a decade since they were able to make a full Call of Duty game without any meddling. So as for the studio's future, Sledgehammer reportedly planned on making 2 sequels to Vanguard, turning it into a trilogy, but since the game sold and reviewed so poorly, it's probably not going to happen. We're done with the World War II era. It's kind of sad, but it is what it is. As for the Advanced Warfare 2 rumors, I don't know what to believe. Tom is a very reliable source, and if he says the game isn't real, I trust him. But with Sledgehammer doing 2 World War II games in a row, there's no way they do a third, especially after the reception of the previous. I think it's inevitable that Call of Duty goes into the future again after another few years, but looking at the franchise's track record, I don't actually think Activision's going to trust Sledge with it. If anything, I think Treyarch would be in charge of the next futuristic Call of Duty simply because Black Ops 3 was far and away the best-selling game of the Jetpack era. However, I could also see Sledge being assigned to the next futuristic game because then Activision could wash their hands of any possible backlash. Sledgehammer is basically the COD community's scapegoat at this point, so if Activision wants to take a risk and make more futuristic COD games, give it to Sledge. Now, Tom Henderson did state in his report that things change very rapidly, especially with the Call of Duty franchise. And there have been some recent reports that never made it live, including the Ural Mountains map from Warzone. That was leaked about a dozen times before it was canceled. So I guess it is possible that Advanced Warfare 2 is on the table, but it looks like it's not. It's also totally possible Advanced Warfare 2 didn't exist ever. This industry is always changing, and the Call of Duty brand is always being shaken up for one reason or another. With that being said, it doesn't look like you're going to be going back to that Jetpack era. We'll keep you guys updated if anything new breaks, and I'll see you soon.